your rule different from ours?
Is that to go charge something?
You have to go charge someone.
Right.
Brother, look, it's a double yellow line. It's unacceptable, bro.
What do you work for?
Cops are so used to breaking the law that they don't even feel guilty anymore. Today we bring you some of the most shocking cases where these dirty officers were finally held accountable and exposed in their action. This traffic warden decided to boldly approach the cop and call him out for parking on the double yellows. What happened next will leave you stunned.
Bro, it's a double yellow line, bro.
It's a police car.
No, but it's a double yellow line. Why is your rules different from ours? Why is your rule different from ours?
Is that to go charge something?
You have to go charge someone.
Right.
Brother, look, it's a double yellow line. It's unacceptable,
Who
bro.
do you work for?
This cop is used to being above the law, doing whatever he pleased without consequence, because, well, who polices the police? But this time he was backed into a corner and was left completely speechless. This officer surely found out about the law, and this next police chief was caught and fired for something that was even more shocking.
You ever taken any batteries out and sold the batteries?
No.
Buckeye Lake Police Chief James Hansey found himself the subject of an investigation after he accidentally fired his weapon at a crime scene. Little did he know that this incident would expose even more of his corruption.
Just tell me about what happened during the accidental shooting. Obviously, I've gotten stories, a couple different, people told me, but, you're the guy that accidentally discharged a weapon, so I can't wait to hear from you, man.
Jeff and Megan and I were on our way back from Lancaster. We had ate at B-Dubs. We were coming down 79 and we were in the area of Buckeye Lake Beezer Village. And my telephone rang. It was from Darlene Whithofer. I've known the family since, I was a firefighter with her brother Terry forever. She found her aunt in the middle of the road, and that two guys had broke into her aunt's house and held her at gunpoint. She was able to escape, but the gunman shot one guy. He was laying in the floor bleeding to death, and the gunman was still in the house.
Chief Hansey was medically unfit for duty as he had his finger amputated just a day before the firing incident. He was placed on administrative leave but violated the department's policy.
I wasn't even thinking of being on technically light duty.
Right.
Had no gun with me, and with there someone possibly being in that house dying, you guys have done the same thing. You'd have went in. We had 3 people here, and we've been trained. I told Ritter, give me your handgun. Vermaiden went around the side of the trailer to see if there was a door on the back, and we went in cover 3. Vermaiden was the first one in the door. Went to the right because it's a single wide. Went in, and I went to the left, and I held the whole back of the trailer. And the trailer is really dark, and the only lights that's on is their flashlights and a TV in the very back room. I'm standing here, low ready, left hand, and all of a sudden something flashed. I thought someone was coming up at me. When I came up, I hit a corner, and poof, went in the round, went in the floor.
Okay. Did you have your finger on the trigger or something when you went up?
I had, yeah.
Now, while this may seem like nothing, a police chief just cannot be this careless, as he could have risked the lives of everyone on the scene.
Was there any conversation about not telling them about the accidental discharge?
Yes, there was.
Okay, was that your call?
Yes.
Okay, and what was the rationale there?
Ritter likes to tell things, and for the integrity of the case, integrity of the accidental shooting, Ritter, you don't have to go tell everybody that we had an accidental shooting. Let's get this investigated first. Let's get it looked at. Let's save the integrity of the case right here before anybody, 1,700 people know.
Sure.
And that was the only reason. But no reason to hide anything. How can you hide an accidental discharge?
Makes it tough. Things go bang real loud.
Yeah, and you got a spent shell. We got the shell.
Okay.
Yeah, I sure did. I told him. Because he likes to tell.
However, the accidental discharge was only the starting point of the interrogation, and the corrupt chief's situation was about to get worse.
I did exactly what I was supposed to do. I called the mayor. I called the mayor 6 times, and she never called me back. She called Ritter instead of calling my phone. She does that a lot. Just the other day, she's standing there, Ritter's phone goes off. Call from Peggy Wells. He's talking to her. I walk up and say, why aren't you calling me? I'm the chief.
Right.
From years, she's been on council for years, and And yeah, she never liked the police department. She's actually picketed against the fire department. She don't like them. She had a big meeting with Randy Thorpe and, well, Billy was still there, and wanted to see about bringing them in and get rid of us, and Billy and them guys told him, you can't afford us.
Right.
You know, but when she took over mayor, and she took me in on January 19th, I told her, I said, all I want to do is my job.
Yeah.
I want to work with you. I have no hard feelings about nothing.
This wasn't the first policy that Chief Hansey had violated, as the officers discovered a shocking fact about him. He had been working from home without any probable cause and getting equally paid for it.
I guess a couple of them mentioned a computer that you had at home, that your excuse was that you had to go home because you had some information on the computer at home that you didn't at work.
My computer at home is set up the same way the computer at the house. I mean, at the office.
Okay.
And if I was at my house doing stuff and writing, you can go to my house right now and I can show you the stuff that I've done, changing policies and changing things. I've had permission from our mayor, Kate Carroll, to go there.
Okay. Have you had permission from this mayor to go there?
No, and I haven't.
Okay. All right.
I wish I'd have brought my phone in. The times that they're probably talking about is I burnt my foot, right heel, really bad, clear to the bone. And I had to have a special boot. And it hurt to walk in it.
The detectives came well prepared and were ready to expose Hansey, even after he tried to lie about what had happened.
And I would come in the mornings, I would get the mail like I was supposed to, I would check the phone recorders and do everything else, and then I would go to the house and do what I had to do.
Okay.
You know, but I always had my walkie right there, and they knew this.
Well, I think part of it too was they said they came over, a couple of times and you were just wearing shorts and a t-shirt watching cops while you were on duty.
No.
And that was and then when I checked the records, you had him logged on his hours that day. But my concern is if you're at home that day, and that's true, let's say that's true what he's saying, if you're just sitting around watching cops when you're supposed to be at work, that could be an issue.
Right.
Obviously, I mean, you're the chief of police, you wouldn't want one of your guys doing that. Why do you think that is, Jimmy?
I would go home a lot, but I would be in blue jeans or my BDU pants and a shirt that always said police, and I would be doing the stuff that I was allowed to do on the computer for the mayor.
The police chief was about to face strict scrutiny as detectives uncovered years of shady dealings and abuse of power.
So what are your procedures for junking cars?
Junking cars?
Yeah, let's say you get a car in an impound, nobody comes and gets it. What is your procedures to get rid of that vehicle?
Run the thing through the state of Ohio. They come back and tell us if there's a lien on it. And then you send that person, or if there's a lien on it, you send that person 10-day notice. Or if there's no lien on it, you send that person, the owner, 10-day notice. And then if they don't collect it, or we get it back, they've got 10 days to pay the towing or anything like that. If not, then I go get a title from the BMV. And then we gather how many other cars we got up, get 3 bids, and then people come out and look at like junkyards or private people or whatever. They look at all the cars all at once and give you 3 bids, and the highest bidder gets them.
Okay.
And if this wasn't bad enough, Chief Hansey was about to be questioned for something even worse, which will leave you shocked.
They were taking the batteries out and sold the batteries.
No.
No. And the reason I'm asking you in this setting, Jimmy, is this is a setting where under Gary Act, you can't be charged with what we're talking about. We can't talk about this criminally.
Right.
Okay, but if that comes out criminally, there's going to be some issues probably with stealing. Okay, so there's been those allegations and a little more than just allegations. Very, very specific things that I've checked out that are not making a lot of sense. Okay, one of them especially being a water pump that was taken off of a truck for Randy.
If anything was taken off them cars, the village already owned them, and they had permission from the mayor to take anything. I personally have never taken anything off the cars, out of the cars, anything. Now Randy and Mark Dimmick has, yes, but they've always had permission, and they've never done anything until the vehicles were owned by the village.
Sure.
And they were going to the junk yard.
the village owned it. Did you take any batteries then after they owned it? Did the mayor say, hey, you can take these? I'm trying to, explain it for myself in my head why I've had two people tell me the same thing now. Two different people. One, that I would say is completely on your side, one that says maybe not completely on your side, and they're both telling me the same thing. So I'm trying to figure that out why in my head that would be the case. So is there a circumstance or an instance where you did take a battery or two after the mayor cleared it?
I've never taken a battery.
Never.
Never.
Okay.
Never.
All right. Well, I needed to ask you about that because, like I said, I've had a couple of them here. All right.
It was clear that this police chief had never been held accountable for what was going on or what he was doing. He had been overstepping his authority and misusing his position, and the detectives were not letting it slide this time.
You weren't on duty at all, right? That's why you didn't have a gun with you. I assume you had your police ID probably, but you didn't have your firearm, right? Okay. That's because you were not on duty, correct?
No, I don't feel that way. I feel that I'm in the village, I'm on duty.
Even though the doctor's saying you're not allowed to be on duty until the 12th.
The doctor said you return to duty. That's a return to work.
Right.
Okay? I was physically working to get paid. I got paid through sick time, but physically showing up and doing the work. But I considered myself on duty because I'm in the village. I live in the village. I'm the chief of police, so I'm 24/7. So yeah, I considered myself on duty.
Okay, so if one of your officers acted the same way you did, in the same manner, you wouldn't have a problem with that then at all? If they were not due to come back to work for 2 more days and they took a call in the village, they took a call, even though they're not cleared to come back for 2 more days, would you per se, do you have a problem with that?
If it was the same situation that I was put in,
Sure, call exactly the same.
no, I would not.
Okay, and why is that?
Because there was imminent risk of death. He was there. He had plenty enough people to take care of what the situation was. And I believe he has what word do I want to use?
You want to use probably duty to do something, right?
Yeah.
I assume that's where you're going with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I do. I would not have a problem with that at all. I mean, the accidental discharge was very unfortunate and a bad timing, but, no, I wouldn't have a problem with that at all.
Finally, the detectives arrived at the biggest concern they had from Hansy and the department. The entire police force was being overpaid, and there was no one to keep it in check.
Where you got all the hours listed for everybody that worked, all the calls were taken, all that stuff.
Yeah, we get the calls and everything out of the computer system,
Okay.
and Jeff would estimate the hours.
How's he estimating the hours? I'm confused on that part.
I worked 80 hours a week.
Uh-huh.
80 hours a week.
Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks. That's 160 a month, so he'd put 160. He would take what he was supposed to work, divide that by 2. That's what he would get, just down the line like that.
Okay. Who was ultimately responsible for that? To make sure those numbers are correct?
Those numbers were estimations. They were never correct, not meant to be correct.
You guys are paid by the hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you get paid by the hour, an estimate by the hour? How does that work? Because we have a time clock. We got to turn stuff. We literally have a time clock.
The cops were being paid more and even being compensated for days that they were not working. Here is how the chief reacted to this, trying to get away without accountability.
It may not be 16 hours. I believe it is accurate because the mayor, Frank Foster, said, we will trade him this 16 hours a month if he continues to train us like
Right.
that. And that's the way we did it.
I understand what you're saying. I do. I get it. But, a guy like that's valuable. But you want that guy to actually work. And when you're presenting those numbers to the village council, the numbers don't match what is actually going on. So if you're putting 16 hours down, it looks like that guy's been there for 16 hours that month. He put in at least 16 hours of time, right?
If you wanted to look at it that way, yes.
I don't know. I really don't know how else to look at it, Jimmy, when it comes to that, because, again, yeah, valuable guy. You want to keep him around. You want to keep him happy, but he's not putting the numbers in that you are saying he's putting in. Does that make sense?
The chief was so non-serious about something that is so important that could remove him from his job. Instead of owning up to his actions, he deflected blame onto the mayor and junior officers, acting as if he had no part in the corruption.
Every month that she's been there, she's got 16 hours a month. I call her, she says, no, that's not accurate. I call the guy she rides with, Haas.
Jeff Haas.
Jeff says, no, she does not work 16 hours a month. Yeah, you guys put 16 hours a month on that sheet.
Again,
You understand, that's a criminal charge. That could be a criminal charge to do all that
there's no
stuff.
monetary value.
There's no monetary value. You're making it public record. You're falsifying a public document because it's going over to village council. You see what I'm saying? So you're falsifying a document that goes over there. And I don't know why. I don't get it. I really don't understand it. You know, but I mean, this is a place to explain it, Jimmy, if you're going to. I mean, this is where it gets explained.
The chief remained calm and patient, but that all changed when detectives brought up another issue, check fraud. As they pressed him for answers, his composure began to crack.
Let's go to these checks that were cashed for the insurance company. Now, I talked to the insurance company about those checks, and they had some pretty big issues with them. All right? That may be something that I'm going to have to turn over to somebody else to investigate criminally. If it gets to that point, I may have to do that.
What
I don't know
checks?
what the insurance checks that when you were transported to the hospital and you were supposed to pay, you weren't supposed to cash them, and you cashed 4 of them.
Oh Lord, you gotta be kidding me.
See, Jimmy, the problem with an internal investigation is once it starts rolling, it starts opening the door to all kinds of other stuff that comes in. And I have a duty now to at least address it and try to figure out what's going on. In this setting, again, you're under Garrity, okay? I can't use anything you say criminally, period. Okay?
Oh, I understand.
So, all right, I want you to understand that, before you.
This is funny. These checks, I honestly, wholeheartedly, with my life, believe they were my Aflac checks. Because I talked to John Curtis, you can call him and ask him, I got him in my phone. He says, you've got a check coming, and you're going to have checks coming for your follow-up visits. I just got a check, and you can run out to my truck or give me the keys. I got $3,100 out there. I just got an Aflac check for this.
Okay.
I honestly, wholeheartedly, 1,000,000% believe them checks were mine. This is starting to piss me off. When I found out they weren't, I made arrangements and they were taking money out of my payroll every month.
They mentioned
I didn't fight the system because I honestly believed they were my checks.
So did you get any Aflac checks during that time that you were getting those checks?
The investigators kept the pressure on, and Hansy never could have imagined that a minor accidental discharge would unravel his entire career. What started as one mistake had exposed a web of corruption, bringing everything crashing down.
Ultimately, it's your department, your responsibility to make sure those numbers are accurate.
Them numbers were never, ever in the whole world ever meant to be accurate. That was just a summary of what we've done.
Okay.
The only thing accurate in that whole thing was the very front page. That was accuracy.
And it wasn't accurate because you guys missed Ritter's numbers on almost every month.
What do you mean?
Like Ritter's numbers that he had, your call volume is actually way bigger than you guys claim it is. You guys have more calls and did more things than you guys claim. Because you didn't factor Ritter's numbers in. All of Ritter's call records, all his calls, all his stats, even his hours worked. Nobody calculated it.
The Ritter's not putting his stuff in the computer. And that would be the problem there with
Okay.
call volume.
What do you mean put stuff in the computer?
He's not typing his stuff in his CRs and call records in.
Okay.
The corrupt chief went on another frustrating rant as the detectives continued to provide more evidence, weakening his entire argument.
There's hours that I work that I don't put down on my timesheet.
So you working extra hours and not claiming?
Yes. My phone would ring constantly, and I'd have to go out. I never put all the hours down,
Right.
because I know we're short of money, and I didn't want to work myself out of a job. You can ask any mayor that.
Yeah. What's the most people you guys have had out at one time?
2,
2?
yeah, 3.
At any time, any given day. If you're going out and riding 4-wheelers on a day you're supposed to be at work and then you claim time on it too, that's a problem, man.
Oh, I can see that being a problem. That wasn't done on purpose.
Okay.
I can tell you that.
What's her maintenance say on that same day? Check here and get to the end here. And out of respect for you, Jimmy, I'm laying everything on the table. I'm not holding anything back from you here.
I already,
Here's the one that was turned in of yours. And I'm looking for maintenance, Jim.
You were past it, or one.
That right here, 425.
And Vermaiden was with you, and Vermaiden claimed 6 hours.
why would he pay him 6 hours when he's supposed to work on Tuesday? He works noon to 10.
No idea.
So that should, I don't even know why that was put there. That was should have been noon to 10 instead of 4 to 10. And it'd have been 10 hours.
What time did you guys get back from that trip?
Oh hell, I don't remember.
Was it dark?
No.
Maybe he tried to come in later, I don't know. But he put down numbers too on that day that he wasn't at work.
This was not done on purpose. I probably should do my timesheet every day that I get done, and I didn't. That right there, the 25th, was not done on purpose. You know, and I can understand it looks terrible.
But Jimmy, you just told me earlier that you do it like that you make sure that you don't put that ending on there until you're actually done.
I just started doing that.
Okay, I gotcha.
Because of all this issue of them saying, timesheet this, timesheet that, timesheet this.
Right.
And pay is very,
This is, Jimmy, I don't know if you've ever seen this before. This is a couple years of people thinking that you're doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing. A couple years, since 2014.
Ultimately, Chief Hansey decided to play the victim card, claiming that they are never looked after by the city, as if that would justify all the corruption he had been doing along with his fellow cop.
I asked if we could get a window tint meter for $48. No, you don't have the money. Seriously?
Wow, 48 bucks?
$48. So that's the way we've always been in that village from day one I started. They don't give us nothing. We buy our own paper. We buy our own uniform. They give us a uniform allowance. But we buy our own boots and we buy our own guns and our belts and stuff that whatever the uniform allowance won't cover.
You know, that reminds me of something though, Jimmy, I gotta ask you before you take off here. You threw away a bunch of property the other day.
After nearly an hour and a half of intense questioning, Hansey was let go. He was charged with 22 administrative violations and immediately removed from his position. As of now, it remains unclear whether criminal charges will follow. Well, that brings us to the end of this video. Today we saw cases where corrupt police officers were finally held accountable after years of misconduct. These officers learned the hard way that accountability is key, and they can't keep getting away with their actions. Now, if you agree, please support us by liking this video. Also, if you enjoyed this video, watch how these corrupt cops were owned and humbled in courtrooms.
Defendant is guilty of the crime of forcible and punishment is set at 16 years.